So, how is he?
Hell, you know. Same old Ethan.
What the hell is he doing?
I find it best not to look.
They both have their elements. They're not just difficult, they're dangerous, but they both have their challenging elements.
I'd say the helicopter, for me, you know, we worked extensively on the Halo sequence. We were lucky enough that the studio allowed us to build the largest outdoor wind tunnel in the world ever built, and we built that at the studio so that we had enough room to simulate the moves that we would eventually do in the air, because Tom was shooting all day on set, so we didn't have the chance to then go to a drop zone after works, we'd shoot till it was dark. So we had lights at the wind tunnel if it went dark, and I would go down and work with my team, and then Tom would come in and we'd work out all the moves that we would do in the air for real on a Halo jump. And then it's a process. Tom was already a skydiver, he just had to get Halo trained, but it's all down just to him. It's his body, his mechanics, and the rig, whereas with a helicopter, it's a lot more involved. The training is a lot more intense, and there's a lot more that can go wrong.
He was already a professional pilot, so he had a very basic skill level already, so we didn't have to teach him how to fly. We just had to prepare him for the things he was going to do in this sequence. So we put him in a mountain flying course so that he understood what the turbulence was like in the canyons, what the thin air was like up at 10,000 feet. And then we taught him formation flying so he could get used to moving around an aircraft and used to being in the turbulence of the other aircraft and how it affected his aircraft. And then we took him out to a racetrack where we chased Wade around in a car around the circuit, where we tried to keep him within the confines of the track so that he could see the distance of the track. The width of the track was the same as the canyon walls were, and so he could practice in changing speeds as Wade went around corners so that he could hold himself within that.
Because obviously on the day, if
distance.
he went outside the track, on the day that would be a wall of a mountain, and you hit your blades against the wall, you know, you're going down. So it was quite intense training for Tom, but you know, he rises to the occasion. He's got an amazing focus, an amazing attitude, you know, to doing stunts.
Because like he's doing the corkscrew turns and
yeah, a little closer than we are now to that helicopter behind me.
And is there a reason why you chose the Airbus 125 over any other helicopter? Or
It has
just
fantastic
for the camera?
performance.
Power,
it has fantastic performance in the mountains. Yeah, last week I was at 22,000 feet in one, filming thunderstorms. So they're wonderful, and they're very maneuverable. And Tom already had some experience in it, so it made it easy for him.
There's everything.
Yeah, I mean, it was the tough for me because, you know, Tom and I was hanging out the helicopter. They painted me out afterwards, but I was hanging out for cues and giving cues to my riggers that were inside the helicopter. We had to big challenge to build a rig inside a helicopter whilst in flight and operate it rather than being on the ground and cheating it. So that was a huge challenge for us. But you know, the scene is Tom's climbing and he tries to reach for the skid to get in, and he can't. And when he falls, he looks up because that's where the camera is, and basically he's looking almost straight into my eyes. And he, you know, he's acting, and he's so in character that, you know, he. I mean, I was convinced that he was falling to his death, and I was the one that knew he wasn't, you know, necessarily. But it was
just
really,
hoping everything, nothing went wrong.
All our stuff worked, and which, you know, we were over rehearsed, and it was safety 10 times. But still, you never know. Anything can happen. We are doing stunts, and he hit the load so hard because he didn't want any deacceleration. He wanted it to be as real as possible, and the wind effect, the right wind effect, as he fell at that forward speed, what it would do to him in relation to the bag. So it was very. I was very anxious watching him because he would get right almost to touching my hand. And then just fall away from me. And the few times that he missed because he was trying to grab late, and he would tumble off the bag, and you couldn't really see him from our perspective for a few seconds. It was nerve-wracking.
Yeah. Both fights, like the bathroom fight at the beginning and then the pulpit rock fight, are very intense, very fast-paced. and
Very different.
yeah, very different fights. And then the Pulpit Rock also, you have to account for the weather, because the weather is all over the place. It's snowing, it's raining.
It was heavy flying. Mark was
Hail,
in the
yeah.
in the camera ship out there doing those big sweeps and with a camera ship. And I mean, we took off that mountain the last day. We got such wind shear off that mountain. The machine was like vibrating like crazy, and a big snowstorm came through. It was bitterly cold.
Half an hour later, when we stopped filming,
exactly, it was
the place was a whiteout. Yeah.
Bitterly cold, but the fights
It took a week to get all the gear off there. We had to wait a week to get all the gear off there
in.
because it got snowed in.
But the two fights there were very different. You know, the first fight in the bathroom is Walker and Ethan fighting together against Lark, and they're getting their asses handed to them by this very talented Lark, and we're not scared as characters. Tom's not scared to lose in a fight because he's not necessarily the best. He's not a superhero. He's just a guy, an agent that's trying his best. And he's relentlessly trying his best to complete the mission, and he doesn't always make the right decisions. He doesn't always outskill his opponent. He's just relentless in his approach.
Just never gives up.
He never gives up. Yeah. So the bathroom fight was, we really wanted that to come across as a story, and I believe it did. It was a fun fight, and then the end fight was really personal between him and Walker. And Walker's like, "Why won't you just die?" And that really shows the Ethan character. And it was a sort of fight in the middle of a helicopter sequence and a mountain climbing sequence and everything else. So it was one of those sort of third act sequences that never finished. It was
it
just one
amazing.
part of it. Yeah.
Would either of you want to step into his shoes and maybe direct Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible 7?
I mean, it would always be an honor to direct Tom Cruise. I mean, not just in second unit, but in main unit, because he's a hard-working actor who so professional and gives you 100%, so you can do so much more with your angles and your cameras, because it's such subjective filmmaking. It's all on him. You don't have to cheat the camera, so it allows you to just do so much more. So it would be fantastic.
Yeah, I love the process of storytelling, of visual storytelling, and I don't know, want to step in and do a Mission Impossible, but I'd love to do drama and stuff like that. Yeah.
Hollywood's a big political playground, so who knows?
Oh, cool. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Accept it, Ethan. You've lost this one. What's done is done. What's done is done when we say it's done.
Showtime.
Oh my God.
You're just full of surprises.
Mission Impossible Fallout on digital November 20th and on Blu-ray December 4th.